Imagine a world where the greatest hunter in the forest wasn't just a rival, but a sworn enemy. 30 millennia ago, two dominant species, humans and wolves, clashed for survival. The same frigid lands of the northern reach, the same scarce prey in the whispering valleys. Most encounters were brutal, a fight to the death. But a rare few, they were different. Some wolves just watched, still and curious. And in those quiet moments, humanity glimpsed a future impossible, yet destined. For untold ages, the Sunstone tribe, dwelling in the foothills of the jagged peaks, lived a precarious existence. Their lives were a constant negotiation with the unforgiving wilderness. Every dawn brought the struggle for sustenance and the omnipresent threat of predation. Among the most formidable of their competitors were the Grey Fang clan of wolves. These powerful canids were not just animals, they were a force of nature, perfectly adapted to the icy plains and dense forests. Both species were apex predators, masters of their domain, and their domains frequently overlapped. The frozen river serpent, a vital fishing ground, was often the site of tense standoffs. The forested expanse of the Shadowwood offered prime hunting grounds for both human hunters and wolf packs, leading to inevitable, often bloody confrontations. This wasn't a rivalry born of malice, but of absolute necessity. Two powerful forces vying for the exact same resources in a world where scarcity was the only constant. Their very survival hinged on outsmarting, outmaneuvering, and often eliminating the competition.
The struggle was relentless. Humans, armed with crude spears and keen intellect, would track the migratory herds of mammoth and reindeer across the vast tundra wastes. But the Grey Fang clan, with their acute senses and unparalleled stamina, pursued the same quarry. A successful hunt for the Sunstone tribe meant weeks of sustenance, warmth, and a brief respite from hunger. For the Grey Fang wolves, it meant the survival of their entire pack through the brutal winter. It wasn't uncommon for humans to find their carefully laid traps sprung and their kills scavenged by cunning wolves, leading to frustration and retaliatory hunts. Conversely, a wolf pack, weakened by hunger, might stalk the human encampments near the Ember Caves, their eyes gleaming in the torchlight, waiting for a moment of vulnerability. Young hunters of the Sunstone tribe learned early to fear the piercing gaze and the swift, silent movements of a wolf pack. Tales were whispered around the fire of children lost to the encircling shadows, of lone hunters dragged down by overwhelming numbers. The air between the two species was thick with suspicion, fear, and a deep, ingrained animosity. Yet, amidst this ancient conflict, something began to shift. Not all wolves were alike. While the majority of the Grey Fang clan viewed humans as rivals to be driven off or prey to be exploited, a subtle anomaly emerged. On the fringes of human territory, near the ancient standing stones known as the Whisper Circle, a small, distinct group of wolves started to behave differently. They didn't raid camps, they didn't immediately flee. Instead, they watched. A lone female, perhaps ostracized from her own pack or simply possessing an unusual temperament, was often seen observing the Sunstone tribe from a safe distance. Her gaze wasn't predatory, but keenly inquisitive. She would watch the humans prepare their fires, butcher their kills, and tend to their young. Her offspring, instead of mimicking the aggressive posturing of other wolf pups, also exhibited a peculiar calm. This subtle difference marked the first crack in the wall of animosity, a tiny, almost imperceptible opening for a new kind of interaction in the harsh wilderness of the northern reach.
The Sunstone tribe's elder, a wise woman named Mara, noticed this peculiar pack. She observed their unusual restraint, their lack of overt aggression compared to the relentless incursions of other Grey Fang wolves. One evening, after a particularly successful hunt, Mara instructed a young hunter, Kale, to leave a small portion of a caribou kill near the edge of their camp, within sight of where the curious wolves often watched. It was a risky act, an unprecedented offering to a historical enemy. The wolves, led by the watchful female, approached with extreme caution, their bodies low to the ground. They circled the offering for a long time, sniffing the air, their instincts screaming danger. But hunger, perhaps, was a stronger force. Slowly, tentatively, the female took the offering, dragging it into the shadows. This was not an act of submission, but a moment of mutual recognition, a shared understanding of survival, a fragile bridge built on scraps and the unspoken language of necessity.
This small gesture, repeated over many moons, began to chip away at millennia of ingrained hostility.
The cautious exchanges bore unexpected fruit. The wolves, no longer actively hostile, became an early warning system. One bitter night, as the Sunstone tribe slept soundly in their crude shelters near the frozen lake, a distant rumbling signaled danger. Before human ears could discern the threat, the sentinel wolf, now a frequent presence on the camp's periphery, let out a series of short, sharp barks. These were not the howls of a predator, but an urgent alarm. Moments later, a small band of encroaching cave bears, roused from hibernation, lumbered towards the camp. The wolves' warning gave the tribe precious time to arm themselves, light torches, and drive off the formidable beasts, averting a potential disaster. These occurrences became more frequent. The presence of a predatory saber-toothed tiger near the Obsidian River, the silent approach of a rival tribe from the Ironwood Forest. The wolves, with their superior senses, often detected these threats long before the humans. They weren't yet allies, but they were no longer simply enemies. They had become silent, vigilant guardians, their instincts inadvertently protecting those who offered sustenance.
The progression from wary coexistence to active partnership was gradual but profound, manifesting most vividly on the hunt. The hunter Kale, now more confident around the peripheral wolves, began to notice how their natural hunting patterns could be complementary to his own. One day, while tracking a herd of elks through the sprawling willow marshes, he observed the sentinel wolf and her grown offspring. The wolves, with their speed and agility, were excellent at fleshing out prey from dense thickets. Kale, with his spear and strategic mind, was adept at delivering the killing blow. A silent understanding began to form. The wolves would drive the elks towards areas where Kale and his fellow hunters lay in ambush. After the kill, the humans would take the prime cuts, but always leave substantial portions for their canine collaborators. This wasn't charity, it was efficient cooperation. Humans benefited from the wolves' tracking and herding abilities, securing larger, more consistent kills. The wolves, in turn, gained access to a reliable, abundant food source without the high risk of injury inherent in bringing down large prey alone. The Wild Peak region saw the first truly integrated hunts, where the strategies of two species converged, making both far more formidable.
Over countless generations, across the vast expanses from the Great Northern Ice Sheet to the Southern Stone Plains, the transformation deepened. The wolves that chose to remain near human settlements, those whose ancestors had been less aggressive and more curious, began to change. Humans, recognizing the immense value of their evolving partners, naturally favored the more tractable individuals. Pups displaying gentler temperaments, those who were more tolerant of human touch and sound, were given more food and protection. Aggressive, skittish wolves were either driven away or, simply, did not thrive in the burgeoning partnership. This selective pressure, applied over hundreds of generations, began to reshape the very genetic makeup of these animals. The wild, untamed spirit of the Grey Fang clan gradually softened. Their physical appearance began to alter. Snouts shortened, jaws became less powerful, coats developed a wider range of colors and patterns, and their ears, once rigid and alert, sometimes became droopy, a sign of reduced stress and vigilance. The ancestral wildness didn't vanish entirely, but it receded, replaced by an emerging capacity for deep, unwavering loyalty, a bond reinforced by shared firelight and shared fate.
The once cold, calculating eyes of the wild wolf, constantly assessing threat and opportunity, slowly gave way to a gaze filled with affection and understanding. The powerful predatory instinct, once solely directed at survival in a brutal world, was now channeled into companionship and protection of the human pack. From the primal roar of the wolf emerged the comforting bark of the dog. This profound metamorphosis was more than just physical or behavioral, it was a shift in spirit. The ancient fear and animosity that once defined their relationship dissipated, replaced by a unique connection unlike any other in the animal kingdom. These new companions, no longer just outside observers or protectors, became integral members of the human family, their place cemented not by chains, but by an invisible thread of mutual devotion. They guarded the young, shared the warmth of the hearth, and mourned alongside their human counterparts. The predator had truly become a partner, and from the wild heart of the wolf, a new creature of unparalleled loyalty was born, forever linked to humanity.
Today, this ancient pact echoes in every wagging tail, every comforting nudge. The unique bond we share with our canine companions is a testament to an extraordinary journey. It's a story of how two species, once bitter rivals in the harsh lands of the Northern Reach and the Whispering Valleys, learned to see beyond their differences, to find strength in unity. It's a powerful narrative of transformation, where hunger forged trust, fear gave way to friendship, and the wild heart learned to guard humanity's heart beside the flickering firelight. From the first hesitant offerings of bones to the steadfast companionship of today, the domestication of the wolf is not just a chapter in natural history, but a profound testament to the power of cooperation and the enduring spirit of connection. It's a bond that continues to evolve, reflecting our shared history and promising an inseparable future.